Good morning and welcome back to the channel and the allotment for another helping of allotment tasks. I'm just down now and I thought I'd show you my morning routine. This is what I do every morning. I come down and take all the fleeces off, the potatoes, the propagator lids off. When you've got a greenhouse on an allotment, it is really quite tiring because you have to keep up to it every day. You know, you can't risk leaving all your plants and your seedlings uncovered just in case there's a frost. We've had this week some great weather, some lovely spring weather, and it's been glorious. But on a night time, those temperatures have dropped. So you have to make sure that you cover up everything, otherwise you could be back to the drawing board. I remember one time I transplanted my parsnips and they'd been in the area where they were growing in the raised bed, and for about 2 weeks, and they were coming on lovely. And what I used to do is come down just like this. I'd take the cover off that was protecting them overnight, and one particular day I forgot to put it back on, and I came down the next day and every single parsnip had been frosted. So that whole process that you saw earlier on in some earlier videos, where I sowed them, put them in the bag, monitored them, took them out, transplanted them, it were all for nothing. So you've really got to have a good routine when you're leaving the plot, you know, and that's what I do. I've got to say, since moving these into the pots, they're looking so much healthier. So, lesson learned. Right, so today I'm going to be planting my first earlies, and I'm going to be doing those in bags. So when they do eventually come through, there is a threat of frost, then I can always bring them into the greenhouse, or as daft as it is, I can put them under the sun shelter. So I'm going to be doing that. Secondly, I'm a little bit worried about germination. There's a lot of things taken, but there's quite a few things that haven't. So I think I'm going to leave it until midweek and give the ungerminated seeds a chance. If not, I think I'm going to just have to go ahead and put a second sowing in. So there's that. Thank you very much to everybody for the suggestions on what we should put on the gate. Clematis, jasmine, honeysuckle, were sort of like passion flower. They were sort of like the more common suggestions. So I thought I'd have a look at, but daft as it is, I mentioned that our local supermarket, Asda, do, oh, what an idiot, done that wrong, do clematises, and these are 3 for a £5. But look what I've done. What an idiot. I've got 2 at the same. Did that other week with seeds. Right, I'll probably just take that back and swap it. So I've decided honeysuckle and a clematis. So I'm going to be getting that in, and I'll show you what I've got down there as well that I did through the week. Then I'm going to sow. It's the right speech, isn't it? Then I'm going to break off my seeds from my sweet corn and get them prepared. Martin came across the other day. He's brought me a load of his. I want to put 1 or 2 of his in. His was sort of like a taller variety than what mine was. So I'm going to have a combination of both those. And yeah, what else are we going to do? Then I'm going to show you all the tasks that I've done through the week. I'm quite pleased with myself. So let's crack on and let's get, first of all, we'll go down and see if we can get this clematis in. So we're down on the front gate, and what I've done is I've found this extra piece of trellis that was on the back of the shed, and I went round the back, and I don't know if some of you remember, I had a honeysuckle that climbed up the back of the shed and across onto towards the pergola that I did from the shed to the sun shelter, and you might be able to just see it there. And I dug that up, soaked it in a bucket, and then I've replanted it there. I know it's not the right time to do that, but I thought, you know what, it's worth a go. I can't just leave it behind. So we've got the honeysuckle on there, and what we're going to do now is look to put the clematis on the other side. But first I've got to go get my Stanley knife, because there's some membrane under there that I'm going to need to cut. Right, first, before I do that, I'm going to just snip the bottom of this pot. Just so that I can use this to plant the clematis into. One of the subscribers mentioned, because I was talking about putting them in one of my pots, one of the subscribers says, why do you plant them straight into the ground? Which was a very good point. Now that I've selected my weapons of choice, what I'll do is just scrape this right back. This will be really, really deep, because it's had years and years this stuff right down at the bottom as well will be really, really good. Let me get a bucket. There we go. There we go, we're down to the membrane there. Take it a bit wider. To cut the membrane out. I've got this on, but I'm certainly warming up, but it is very chilly. And thank you to all those subscribers with their suggestions for dry hands. Apparently just using normal Vaseline isn't really good, because it's like a petrochemical. It doesn't really moisturise your hands, but I do believe that Vaseline do a specific hand moisturiser, so I'll be on the lookout. Right, looks like I've got 2 layers of membrane down here. There we go, so that's the membrane out. What I'll do is I'll just loosen up the bottom of this hole. And then the idea is to put that in there. I'll stick a little bit of this back back in the bottom, and then some nice compost for it to get it off to its best start. All I'll do is push this stuff back round. Get a little bit of a hole. A little bit of mycorrhizal in the bottom, and then it's not as windy today, so hopefully you won't be getting too much disturbance. And then I'll just get a bamboo cane up there, give it a watering, and hopefully we'll get a honeysuckle that way and the clematis going up this side. So there we go, 3 bamboo canes, and hopefully that should intertwine and make its way up towards the trellis. Now don't worry about the hose pipe, because I'm going to move that across to the right, because obviously that'll interfere with its growth. Right, and then what I'm going to do is the rest of the compost left in that bag and the little bit that I dug out can go in the bay. Every little helps, as they say. I cut the grass yesterday down the lane, and that's gone on there, and that little bit of brown's going on there. I'm going to get a little bit of manure that's left down at the manure pile, just to give that a little bit of a layer of brown, and then I've got some green waste to go on top of that then. Brewing nicely. Right, so time to get this first earlies in. The variety is Charlotte. It's an allotment shop probably about 5 miles away from here, and Martin went and he says, if there's any Charlottes, get hold of stuff on it. And he's done that, which is great. So what I'm going to do is start them off with this good quality compost at the base. I'm going to put probably layers, put 2 potatoes in the first layer and then cover them over and leave them till they start, cover them over. Once they start to shoot, I'll put another couple of layers on top of that. And I don't know whether to just put them all in one go like that, and then they're there. I think I will actually. I think I'll just put 2 in, another layer, 2 in, and another layer. And then once they start to come up, I can use my compost out of my compost bay to top them up, in case we get a frost. Right, leave me to get on with filling these, and we'll go from there. So here we've got potatoes, Charlotte, and that's lovely. She's got 2 main chits on, and they're ideal. So all I'm going to do is place 2, making sure there's not too many chits on. If there's any that there are, just rub them off with your thumb. Some more. So there we go. That's 20 seed potatoes in these bags. Now what I've got to do, I've got to make sure that I keep a good eye on them, so when the shoots start to show, I can get over to the compost bay and top them up. So hopefully we'll be having these potatoes with our salads and barbecues at this impending beautiful summer. I'm confident this year we're going to get a good one. Right, let's crack on. Brew time. As I said, I've been very busy this week, and I'll update you on that shortly. But the wife's working today, this weekend, so I'm not rushed. I've got to get back a bit earlier because I've got 3 of the grandkids stopping over. So I'm down until dinner time. That's what I'm having for my dinner. I can't believe these Richmond sausages in Heinz beans. Guess how much? I think they're £2.07 for 1 tin. What's the world coming to? £2.07. It's ridiculous. Right, let me have this brew, and I'll take you around and show you everything that I've done through the week before I get onto my sewing. Right, that's the brew over with. Well, here we go. First thing is I painted the whole of my shed, all by myself. You all know, or certainly those subscribers of last year will know, that I don't like painting. But do you know something? I just thought to myself, I'll just do a little bit at a time. So I did one side first, and then I did this side. But then as I got going, I thought, isn't that bad really? Because down here, obviously, you know, I'm not having to be careful. I could just splash it on, get it on. And I think that looks absolutely tremendous now. I'll take you around the other side and show you that side as well. Here's the old plot. I believe we have got the chairman showing some people around today, so this might have gone by the time I get myself home. I hope they're decent neighbours. Right, I'll take you around the other side. I even painted around the edges of this. I've just that corner to do, but what I'm going to do is when I empty that IBC out to drop the pallet, I'm going to get in behind there and do that. But yeah, really pleased with how it all went. Now I've done what I said. I've not painted the inside of this wall. Obviously I've painted that because it was painted before, but I'm looking really organised in here now. Everything in its place. And this whole back wall is done as well. So I'm very chuffed with myself, to be fair. Very chuffed. The fire now is the next task, but there's no rush. You know, we're not in the cold weather, so I can take my time with that. As I say, I've just got to get a flange to get through that roof, and then once I've done that, I'll get that up as well. It'd be nice to just sit in here with a brew, looking out early on a morning when there's nobody down, just listening to the birds. I even managed to get the arch up. To be fair, I've got to be honest, Martin virtually built this for me. My mind is not set up for doing stuff like this. So Martin helped me put it together, and it's now nice and firm. I've put some chicken wire on this side, and the clematis is scrambling up towards it already. I've left this side because I think the rose has quite thick stems, so as it comes up I'll weave it in and out. I might put another couple of cross members on here if I need to, or some wire just to guide it, but it's nice and stable. I'm really pleased with it. What I've done is I've tie wrapped it to this side. It's pushed into the ground so far. Tie wrapped to this side, and then I've got two stakes on this side holding it together. So that is rock solid, and it should provide great support for those. Now all I want to do is see it clothed in plants. One of those clematises that I bought, I was thinking maybe to put at the side of the rows, because I think they flowered at different times. So I might just do that. Martin said to me, do you think about getting another one here and then another one here, and then joining all of them with wire, chicken wire, and having a walk through. Now I'm worried about the light and casting a shadow on the greenhouse, but as I've said before, the sun rises across there and it comes all the way around the other side of the greenhouse and sets behind the camera. So I'm not committing to that, but it's a suggestion and it's food for thought. And I'd like to just thank John, my good old neighbour over the road. He was out and about and he spotted this for me, and they reduced down to £12. So bargain really. Yeah, so I'm really pleased with how this week's gone. Getting this shed painted was one of the biggies, so I'm really glad that that's out of the way. And you know, getting the plants on the front there was a nice one, and also sorting that arch out. Yeah, so got through quite a lot this week, quite pleased with it. Next week, as I say, I'm going to look at the seeds. The germination on quite a lot of them is a little bit dodgy, to say the least. So I'm going to give it till next week, and then if I have to do a resow, I'll do a resow. But thank you everybody as well for your support with regards to the legal situation I have with my small business. As I think I mentioned in the last one, I'm not going to let it consume me. We've got a very good legal team and we're just going to leave it in their hands. But I'm a very, very firm believer of the truth always comes out, and as long as you can dig your heels in and keep fighting, you know, I think, as I say, the truth's outed. So yeah, I'm not letting that get me down. As I say, I come down here, this is a great leveler. You know, I come down, get stuck into this, go home, and I'm back up for it again on Monday. So yeah, thank you very much for your kind words of support. They really are appreciated. Well, that's going to bring me to the end of a video today. And we've had a really smashing week of weather, and it looks like it's set to continue today and tomorrow. So I'm going to continue doing a little bit of potting on. The marigolds need potting on. The rainbow chard needs potting on. So I'm going to do that before I leave today. But I'd like to just thank everybody for watching, for subscribing. Hello to all the new subscribers. Really much appreciated that you've come along. And I'll be hopefully set up, ready to do another video this midweek. So if you would, join me then. Until then, take care and happy growing.